Hello everybody, my name is Margon, I'm Dutch and I'm living in central Portugal. Last year I purchased a land in central Portugal of 1 hectare. I'm living here in my camper van already for a year. Normally you would see here my camper parked, but at the moment my camper is at the garage already for 3 weeks. I stayed in a Airbnb for the last 2 weeks, but now I'm staying in my tent. I really want to clear the land, cut some grass and cut away brambles. So I need to be here. I don't have another car to drive from one place to another place, so I'm staying in my tent at the moment. So it has been a year that I've been cleaning this land, and when I first got here, there were a lot of brambles and broom bushes. And most of them I cut away. Only there in the northwestern part, there are still some brambles. And you can also see the broom now flowering. The yellow broom is now flowering. At the edge of the land over there, I keep them for now because they give me some privacy. Sometimes there are curious people driving on the road. So I keep them for now. But today I will cut away a few broom bushes because they're in the way, so I'll cut them away. I will give you a short tour around the land. So here I am at the original entrance. If you have seen my first two videos on social media, you saw that the original entrance was completely overgrown with brambles. I have cleared it and my volunteers have made a beautiful gate here. I will make a small door inside later so I can close the gate as well. So here are my plum trees and my fig tree over there. And if you've seen my first video, you would have seen that there were a lot of broom here. Now I will cut these away today. The rest is already cleared. And I will show you now the road, how to get to the other entrance. So the road has been cleared a couple of times because because of the rain, there were some gutters. But the people from the railroad company, they drive here often and they also flatten the road out. So at the moment there is no mud here. I also cleared this part. Now you can actually see the wall, but the brambles are already growing back, so I need to come with the trimmer to cut it down again. So this is the car entrance, where I made some kind of gate out of eucalyptus poles and a chain in between. So those broom bushes I keep now for a while to give me some privacy. And here I'm making another gate for a pedestrian pathway up to the land, to my camper, which is normally there. This is the driveway. I want to plant a lot of bushes on both sides. So also with a lot of flowers, because I like flowers a lot. But now it's already May and the dry period is coming. So I cannot plant any more trees at the moment because then they will not survive the summer. Because I was not here the last 3 weeks, the grass is really tall. Before I left, I cut here the grass, and I did not have time to cut all of this, so I need to cut this week or this weekend. Here I already planted a pear tree and an apple tree. I planted them before winter because during winter there's a lot of rain here, so they can drink all the water. This is the border over here. The land that you see back there, it's from the neighbor. Here I also put some eucalyptus poles to grow this grapevine over here. And here is another grapevine. There's my little bird feeder house. Birdhouse feeder. Did not put any food in it during winter. And here I have a grapefruit that I also planted in winter. Looks very good now because when I planted it, something was eating the leaves, but now it has new leaves and looks really good. On this terrace there is a lot of lavender growing that I want to put in rows alongside the path because now it's growing everywhere. So yeah, I'm gonna plant it somewhere else, but at the moment it's flowering, so I keep it this way. If you saw my first video, you remember that there was a big bramble bush over here, hiding away the water mine. My volunteers made a beautiful bridge over the water mine. And there is the entrance where it's full of water. You can even see the water is now here. But I don't have to walk around anymore because I can just cross the bridge. This is the entrance to my future vegetable garden. And today I just found some potatoes growing from my compost heap. So I thought let's just plant them in the garden. Let's see what happens. I don't know if any potatoes will grow out of it, but I will give them a chance. Then we're going to the ruin, which is now almost free of the brambles. There's still brambles growing back, but I'll try to keep them short. But when I removed the brambles, I saw that one wall is slightly hanging to one side. So yeah, I think I need to redo that in a few years. Get someone with a machine to restack all those stones on top of each other, because I don't want to fall it down. And then inside here I have some art projects, haven't started it yet. And my old fridge is still there under the tarp. I'm not sure I can ever use it again because there are a lot of mice here chewing on cables and everything. But that's a problem for later. Besides cutting away the broom and the brambles, I've also been cutting away eucalyptus trees. These are growing here because behind my land is a big eucalyptus forest. And some seeds have fallen this way. But eucalyptus trees are very flammable and I don't want them here, so I already cut some away. I still have a few to cut, but I might do that after summer. This is the wall, this is the border of my land. This is the eucalyptus forest of the neighbor. These are my trees. And this area has been cleaned recently. But the brambles are already growing back. When the weather gets nicer, I'm gonna put my hammock over here because it's a nice shady place underneath the oak tree. I've made a path all around my land, but then when I checked yesterday, the brambles are low, but the fern is coming back and they're quite high, but I can still walk here, although I need to watch my steps. They're almost as tall as me, even taller. I'm 182, but the fern is taller than me. I need to cut this as well this week. So this is the most northwestern point of my land. This is the last part that I need to clear because there's still a lot of brambles over here. Here I also have a water pool. Last year in March or April there was water in here, and you can see it also because there is a willow growing from here. At the moment there's no water, but I need to clear it, clean it. I need to take maybe some of those willow stems out, take all the leaves out and see if there's an entrance somewhere where the water can come out. But that's for later. And sometimes when I was cutting the brambles away, I found some trees. Here, for example, I found a tiny cork oak tree. So I put a ribbon next to it so I will not trim it down when I come back with the trimmer. And then I found something more interesting because I already have a few cork oak trees on my land. But I found a fruit tree somewhere over there. It was very lucky that I did not cut it down because it was very small. And I suddenly saw leaves that I did not recognize at all. It was not a pine tree, it was not a bramble, not a broom. And then when I made a picture of it to determine it in the determination app, it said something like peach or cherry tree. I will show it. It's somewhere here. It's growing here. It's not an oak tree because the little oak tree is growing next to it. Maybe it's a plum tree because I have so many plum trees on my land. Maybe one seed ended up here. But yeah, it's gonna be a surprise what kind of tree this is. So here I put a metal shed. Before I had all my tools underneath a tarp in the ruin. But I thought it was maybe easier to have a metal shed. Then just 2 weeks after I placed it, we had a big storm and it was completely upside down on my land. But I was able to fold it back in shape. There's a little bit of damage, but at least it's standing up straight again. It's not waterproof at the moment because the water comes in through the screws on the rooftop, but I need to seal it. So this is the other gate, the entrance towards my future vegetable garden. At the moment there's not much growing yet. Here we have a tiny pink lady apple tree. I really love pink lady apples, so I eat them all the time. And one time I saved some seeds. I put them in a plastic bag with some water and put it in a dark place for 3 weeks. And I put them out in some soil, and this is the only one that survived. Hopefully it will grow into a really big tree and I can eat my own pink lady apples from my land. And then here is a tiny olive tree. I found it underneath an oak tree, but I was afraid that I would cut it away if I did not see it because it's very tiny. So I put it in a pot and hopefully it will grow out to be a big olive tree. And I haven't showed you my toilet yet. So we're gonna walk there now. I'm now on the second terrace. Here is also a grapevine that I found underneath all the brambles. So I put a string up and hopefully it will grow some grapes this year. There are already baby grapes here. Look at this. Hopefully they survive. So at the moment I don't have a shower because I don't have my camper. So I need to wash myself with a bowl of water in the hand towel. But I still have my toilet. Which is over here. So I have a lot of privacy because of the pine trees in the back. People from the road cannot see me when I'm on the toilet. I'm walking this way. Sometimes there's a man coming from the village. He only speaks Portuguese. My Portuguese is not so good yet, but I can understand him. He always tells me that these pine trees, there needs to be a space of 2 meters in between them. I know that, but I don't want to cut them all away yet because I like my privacy on the toilet. Here's a madronya and another tiny cork oak. Then I have planted a chestnut tree over here, which also survived the winter. So here's the road. Then I will take you to the southeastern part of my land. I have a lot of piles with dead wood from pruning and digging out roots and cutting trees away. So I need to burn them also this week. We're still allowed to burn at the moment. During the dry season in Portugal, it's not allowed to burn anything or to use metal blades for cutting the grass. But at the moment we're still good. Oh yeah, I got this yucca from a friend and I planted it in the middle of winter. It looks a little bit dead. I'm still keeping it because there is a little bit of green in here. I don't know if it's coming back. I think it's dead, but let's see what happens in summer. And from the same friend, I also received some agaves that I planted 2 days ago. Hopefully they will survive. The broom gives a really nice color in April, May. The yellow one. I also have some white ones. They flower a little bit earlier than the yellow ones. But they're also quite flammable, so I don't want to keep them forever, just for now. Here I planted a rose, which looks like it's happy because it has some leaves. Hopefully it will get a flower this summer. And I have an oleander over here and another rose somewhere here. I really need to cut the grass, I see, because I hardly see where I planted my plants. Yeah, here is the other rose. Something is nibbling on the leaves. I need to check what it is. Maybe a snail. And then here I have another small agave. And a big pile of dead rubbish. So now I'm here near the apple trees and the pear trees. I will make a fruit forest over here. This tree, I'm not sure if it's still alive because it doesn't have any leaves. It's a kaki or persimmon tree. Hopefully it will get some leaves later. Doesn't seem to be dead. Then here I have a cherry tree. The apple trees and the pear trees, by the way, they were chosen by my nephews. I asked each family member if they wanted to plant a tree on my land. Although they did not plant it themselves, I planted them, but they were allowed to choose one. This is an apricot. And then I have 2 apple trees and 2 pear trees chosen by my nephews. The other trees, like lemon and mandarin, they need to wait until winter, because now it's getting more dry. Some people might be curious what I'm doing in Portugal and why I'm here in Portugal. Well, I've been traveling for quite a long time. I left the Netherlands in 2017. In that time I went to work in China as a teacher. I was an English teacher and art teacher for primary school. The children were 6, 7 and 8 years old. And I stayed 2 years in China. And after China I decided to do voluntary work through Workaway. So I did voluntary work in Taiwan, Japan and in India. While I was in India, the COVID period came. And I did not want to stay in India during the lockdown, although I had no idea what a lockdown was. But I thought it was maybe better to go back to the Netherlands. So then I went back and I stayed 2 months with my parents. After 1 month I thought, yeah, what shall I do? How long does this take, this COVID period? Do I need to find a job, or what? Shall I go traveling again? But then I decided to find a job. And I found a job in Lisbon. I worked for TikTok for 2 years. I was moderating videos from TikTok. During the first 8 months I enjoyed Lisbon a lot, but yeah, there were several lockdowns and sometimes I felt locked in my apartment and I did not really like it anymore. And then I decided to do voluntary work together with my TikTok job. So I went to central Portugal. I ended up on a few campings where I did some work on the campings in the morning, and I could do my TikTok work during the afternoon and the evening. So it was like 1.5 jobs. It was quite tough sometimes, but I really enjoyed it, and I was happy that I was in the countryside again. I grew up on a farm in the Netherlands, and I really like the countryside. So that's why I decided to do the voluntary work as well. Then I already noticed that land is quite cheap in Portugal, and I had this dream to find a piece of land for myself and live in the middle of nature for a really long time. But yeah, in Netherlands is not really possible. And when I saw that the land here, it's quite cheap, I had this idea that I wanted to buy land here in Portugal. Then I asked a friend, like, what should I do if I buy land and I have a ruin on the land? I cannot live in the ruin, so where do I need to live then? And then she said, why don't you buy a camper or a caravan, and you can live in the camper or in the caravan. So then what I first did was save money for a camper van, which I bought. It's quite an old one. It's from 1988. But yeah, I really enjoyed living in the camper. So I lived for 1 year in the camper, and I stayed on free camper spots in Portugal. And yeah, then what I missed on the camper spots was a place for myself to step outside and sit in the shade. Just wanted a place for myself, because normally I would stay in the camper because it feels like my cocoon. I feel safe and it's quiet in my camper, and I missed a place outside. And then it was time to search for land. And after searching for 1 year, I found this plot of land in Mangual de Gonzelho, and I really like it, especially the view. There's water, there are birds, there's sunshine, and it's quiet.